What's going on, guys? This is Carroll from Carroll's Corner MMA podcast. I'm here with Vinny Balsamello, who's going to be fighting on the Jackhammer promotion, English Invasion 3. Vinny, thanks for joining me.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Now you're living in Georgia, correct?
Yeah, I'm actually training in Atlanta, Georgia, and I live about 60 miles north of Atlanta.
Awesome. Now tell me a little bit how you got into the connection with Jackhammers and Bobby Campbell, and how you finding your way onto the English Invasion 3 card.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Deer Park, moved to Atlanta about 20 years ago, and a couple of years ago I saw that Bobby was putting on shows right on Deer Park Avenue at Sons of Italy. I actually grew up 2 blocks from there, so I thought it was real neat. At the time, me and my wife were both training, and reached out to him to see about getting on one of his cards. Me and my wife both tried to get on cards. Unfortunately, they both fell through, but we kept in touch. And now when I come up to New York, I train with Bobby, and he was kind enough to put me on this card April 15th.
And I saw you when you were in town at the last fight. When you're fighting, you're going to be fighting in the co-main event against Malik Smith, who's a heavy-hitting guy. But you're a big, pretty built guy. You look like a bodybuilder. Tell us a little bit about your opponent and your fight coming up.
Yeah, so I don't know much about Malik. I actually have seen his last 2 fights, but I didn't know I was going to fight him. I was in New York for both of those shows. I think the kid looks good. He definitely seems to be improving, each fight. And I'm just excited to get out there with him. We really don't train for a fight. We normally come out and we fight 8-man tournaments, so we never knew who we were going to be up against. So we train for our fight, we train for our own style, and we just make sure we're prepared the day of.
Awesome. Now, tell me how you got into kickboxing and fighting. Do you do MMA as well, or just kickboxing?
I've had one MMA fight.
Okay.
I compete. We kind of cross train and we compete in a bunch of different things. I train Shidokan. So Shidokan's an offshoot of Kyokushin karate. It's a bare knuckle form of karate. But with Shidokan, we do what's called a triathlon of martial arts. We've got events where we'll fight 2 rounds of knockdown karate that allows a clinch for 3 seconds while you're standing, and you're allowed to do any kind of judo throw. Once you hit the ground, you've got 5 seconds for a submission. So it's a real fast-moving combat sport. There's no laying and praying on the ground. As soon as you get down, if you can't submit the guy immediately, you're back on your feet. The next 2 rounds, you go into Muay Thai. And then if the guys are still continuing at that point, then we fight MMA. So I've competed in judo, bare knuckle karate, Shidokan strong rules, kickboxing. We just try to compete as much as we can in any kind of sport.
What's your record heading into this fight against Malik Smith?
Total between judo and knockdown karate and kickboxing, I'm at 26-7. But I don't have too many kickboxing fights. I've only got 2 sanctioned kickboxing fights.
Awesome. So this is still fairly new to you, kind of, at least this set of rules and this style of fighting. What can fans expect from you inside the ring? What is your style of fighting? I know, without giving out too much for your opponent.
Yeah, sure. I mean, once I'm in there for the first minute or so, people are going to see what I'm about, so it's not going to give up too much info. I pretty much, just go for it. I'm going to be pushing forward. They're only 2-minute rounds. Normally with the bare knuckle karate stuff, they're 3-minute rounds. Obviously MMA are 5-minute rounds. So to fight 5 2-minute rounds, it's going to be tiring, but, I think I could push hard for 2 minutes, moving forward. So I'm going to try to pressure Malik. I'm going to try to make him work. I'm going to stay on him. And, Bobby joked around the other night, with 2 big guys, and he doesn't see it go in 5 rounds. And I got to agree with him. Win or lose. I think we're both really strong guys. We're both going to be going for a knockout. And I'm going to try to come home with that W.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big guy myself, so I'm always a fan of the heavyweights. And, when you, like you said, 2 big guys in there, that's men throwing some real weight around. Not slapping each other. So I'm pretty pumped for this fight. Tell us, I guess, how your training goes, how your weight cut has been, a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So I train 6 days a week, usually an hour and a half to 2 hours a session. I've got a home gym set up here that's, pretty well equipped. So I train at 6 p.m. at night, Monday through Thursday. So a lot of times I'll do some light work here in the morning, just moving around, shadow boxing, stretching, and then get to the gym for a real class, with my teammates at night. Saturday and Sundays are real big days. We push for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the day. But we do cross train. We mix it up. I've got Shidokan karate Monday and Wednesday nights. We do straight kickboxing with a lot of sparring Tuesday and Thursday nights. And then Saturday is a mix between the Shidokan and then regular kickbox sparring afterwards. Sunday, we do about an hour or so of judo and then move straight into, sparring. So, in terms of the training, it's mixed up, but it's all about striking, aside from the judo that we do. And in terms of weight cut, I walk around usually in the low 240s. When I start training heavily, I end up down somewhere, 230, 235 or so. So the day of the fight, I plan on coming in, hopefully right in that range, about 230, 235 if I'm properly hydrated. So I'll be eating cheeseburgers and French fries the day of the fight, but no worries, because unfortunately we're the big guys, so we're not worried about that stuff.
Awesome. Oh, now, how early in advance do you plan on coming up to New York? I guess to adjust a little. I know there's no traveling like the guys from England are doing, so you're not gonna have any jet lag. But driving up from Atlanta area, that's still gonna be over 10-hour drive at least.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly because it's about 900 miles, 16-hour drive. So I'm gonna fly up on Wednesday, and even though I got a lot of family and friends up there, I'm just gonna get a hotel, crash out. I'm really looking forward to the press conference. I think that's really neat that Bobby does the press
Mm-hmm.
conference over there at Sal Barber. So that's something that's really neat for us fighters to be a part of. Aside from that, I'm just going to be relaxing, probably get a light massage and just chill out and get my head right. My coach and my second cornerman will be in on Saturday, and then I'll just relax with them, get my mind right and be ready on Sunday.
Excellent. Tell us, why do you fight? I'm assuming you have another job besides training. Tell us a little bit about your, I guess, personal life as a fighter, not as a fighter, saying like, what you do every day on a normal basis, and then in addition to all your training. Why is it that you fight?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been in competitive sports. I was bodybuilding for a while, and I got back into competitive bodybuilding back in 2009. I had two shows set up for 2010, and my wife really started getting upset that I was out of the house all the time. When I was in the house, I was meal prepping, and I wasn't really present. Fortunately, at the time, we worked together, and we at least had that time together. But before work and at night, we were both doing different things. So she joined the gym and started training with Shidokan Atlanta, Trammell Fitness and Martial Arts. She always wanted to get involved in combat sports and fight MMA and kickboxing. And I did my two shows, was successful at them, had fun. And then she started really leaning on me to come into combat sports with her. So at first I was hesitant because she really enjoyed it. And I thought it was good that she had her own thing and I had my own thing going on. But she insisted. And it was a great decision I made. We traveled the world together. We fought all over the place and had a really good time. I'll be 43 in July. And I do it for fun. You get to go out there and bang. You never feel more alive than you do while you're fighting. And the adrenaline and the other hormones that are released afterwards, man, it keeps you high for days afterwards. Win or lose, it's just a great feeling. So I get a lot out of it that way. It definitely takes me away from the office, and I usually take a couple of weeks off from training after the fight so that I could focus getting back into work. It's obviously I take a lot of time off from work leading up to fights.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, after this fight, I'll be right back at it. We'll be fighting for Shidokan World Championships are in Ukraine in June.
Awesome.
So I've got just a couple of weeks, and then I got a triathlon bout that I'll be doing over there in Ukraine. So no rest after this one.
Awesome. I was gonna say, do you think being that you're 43, your opponent's 23, you're 20 years the elder, do you believe that's going to play a factor at all? Maybe experience, maybe ring rust. I don't know when the last time it is you've actually been in there, but do you believe that age will play a role at all?
Nah, not at all. And I know that normally it would. If a guy started fighting when he was in his teens or 20s, obviously by the time he's my age, he's a broken man. He can't compete on the level that he was when he was younger. For me, I feel that I improve each year. This is my 7th year of actually training, and I think Vinny Balsamello today would beat the crap out of Vinny Balsamello when he was 35 years old. So I'm improving every year. My cardio's improving, my strengths are improving, my technique's improving. So, I'm much stronger, better kicker, better puncher than I was, before. So even though I am coming into a lot older, Malik obviously has got an advantage in terms of at 23, you just don't get tired. I mean, you could just go for days doing anything. So, I've got that working against me, but I definitely think I'm a better fighter than I was yesterday, and I'll be better tomorrow again. So I look forward to at least another 5 years again out there and competing.
And you led me right into my next question was how much more fighting do you want to compete in within the next 5 years? You said believe you have another 5 years. You mentioned you're going right to Ukraine for a triathlon fight. How much more kickboxing, triathlon type fights, how much more of that do you really want to do consistently?
Well, after this fight, it'll be up to Bobby because I'll have to defend the belt once I take it from Malik. So, if it's every show Bobby has or every other show, that's up to him. And the shows for Shidokan that are pretty much mandatory, there's usually one big event each year somewhere in Europe, and then there's a big event each year over in Japan, that I got to compete in. So I've got to work on those two each year and just kind of work around what I do with Jackhammer Promotions, with those two shows. So it's usually the only restrictions I've got that'll interfere is going to be sometime May to June, and then in October is the big event in Japan.
Awesome. Now, do you plan on just only fighting kickboxing on Jackhammer Promotions events, or do you plan on doing some down in Georgia?
No, nothing here in Georgia. We fight what's called glove karate, which is basically just Muay Thai, with clinch and elbows, knees, but you're in a gi as part of the Shidokan event. So if you don't get a triathlon rules fight, you can fight the strong rules, which is the bare knuckle karate, and then you could also fight what they call glove karate, which is just again, 10-ounce gloves and in there with no pads on. So I'll definitely take those fights when I can't get a triathlon rules fight at a Shidokan event, but I'll be fighting on any local circuits here.
Now, do you believe you have an advantage or disadvantage kind of starting a little bit later in life in combat sports compared to someone who starts younger in combat sports? Like Malik, he's only 23, but he might have started a little bit earlier. Do you believe you have the advantage or disadvantage?
I think it's hard to say. If he's been training for 15 years, from the time he was 5 years old, for say, and, is coming into it now in his early 20s, then I've only got 7 years, so maybe we learn a little faster when we're older and we pick things up. But, being that he's kind of new at it also, I don't even know what his record is. I've heard that he had a few fights before he won the belt, and now this will be his third fight with the belt. So, I think coming into it, it's a really good matchup. I think it's real fair. I think Bobby put together two guys that are going to put on a really good show for the audience. I think we're going to get in there, throw real hard, and make for a really good show.
Tell me what motivates you and inspires you to put 6 days a week in, numerous hours in the gym, plus work and a full-time job. What inspires you and motivates you?
Sucks to get beat up and it sucks to lose, man. So I want to win. So, and that's why I compete. It'd really be hard for me to put in that kind of work without a goal, tied to it. And that's why I'm still out there competing at almost 43 years old.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you get in there against Malik Smith. It's going to be a pretty exciting fight. Always is with super heavyweights. Do you have any sponsors or anyone helping you pay for camp and travel expenses?
No. Fortunately, I'm in a position where I can take care of all that stuff myself. And I got a lot of family up there, so a lot of support coming out. This will actually be the first time I'm fighting in front of a hometown crowd. Normally, we're overseas or fighting out of state. So I'm really looking forward to competing at, Jackhammer Promotions. A fight that's coming up on April 15th, man, because I'm going to have some family, friends out there, people I haven't seen in years, old friends, new friends. It's going to be a great time for me.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to one last question. What is one thing you would like to share with family, friends, fans who watch you fight but don't know about? What something they don't know about you would like to share, though?
Something they don't know about me. That's a tough question. I guess I really don't know what to say to that one, man. That's a tough one. At this point, thanks to social media, we're able to share a lot that's going on in our lives. A lot of people know, that I've been training and that I've been competing and stuff. So they're kind of in the know when it comes to that. They all know that I work real hard and I got a business going on down here in Atlanta that takes a lot of my attention. So I guess there really are no secrets, man. They're going to see, what I do and why I train and how hard I train every day and what comes out of it when I come down there on April 15th.
Awesome. Thank you, Vinny. Vinny Balsamello is going to be fighting in the co-main event against Malik Smith in the super heavyweight fight at Jackhammer Promotions English Invasion 3. So make sure you guys get tickets and go to Mulcahy's Pub, or follow mymmanews.com or Carroll's Corner MMA for updates and live tweets and Instagram feeds. So if you're not there, follow it there, or make sure you go. You don't want to miss these fights. So Vinny, thank you for joining me and taking the time out of your evening.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Kyle. Thanks for having me, bro.
Thank you. Best of luck, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Hey, thanks, man. Take care.